Our confidence, our ability to navigate the world independently through good and through bad times is really tightly tied to our sense of control. See, you either think you control your universe or you believe you're a victim of circumstance. In the worst of times, a sense of control is the key to survival. In the best of times, it's central to flourishing. It makes the difference in whether or not you're going to recognize and grasp those opportunities. Self-control, being able to put off immediate pleasure, has actually been proven to be really tightly tied to success. You know, some people are born with more impulse control than others, and some people have a capacity to plan better than others. But you know what? Parents certainly can support learning about delayed gratification. You've been doing it from the time your kid's been 2 years old. You know, we did it when our child was 2, when we told them to take turns, that it was fair to share. We did it then, but we do it every day, even during adolescence. When we encourage our kids to study, when we create opportunities for them to save, opportunities to do chores so that they can save for the future. We also help when kids get a sense of control when we help them learn to take overwhelming tasks like a term paper and to break them down into small pieces, or any problem at all, and to turn it in, to take it from feeling like a mountain into understanding that every mountain just has one hill piled on top of another, piled on top of another, and that when you look at the mountaintop, you feel paralyzed, like you can't accomplish anything. But if you just imagine walking up on the first hill, it's doable. And the top of the mountain doesn't seem so far away. That's teaching kids to control. We also know that kids learn a sense of control by how we praise them or how we criticize them. We learn this from another wonderful body of scientific work from Carol Dweck, right? That people either have a fixed mindset, meaning that I can't change very many things, I am like this, or a growth mindset, meaning I can control my universe. The actions I take are going to make a difference. And her elegant body of research showed that kids gained that sense of lack of control or control by how we praise them. When we praise them by just telling them what they were, you are so beautiful, you are so handsome, you are so good at math, kids felt like they were what people told them they were, and they were afraid of thinking outside the box. But when instead we praised in this way, you did blank, and therefore blank happened to you, kids gained a sense of control. So are you going to say to a kid, you are so smart? That's not giving a kid a sense of control. Or do you say, you did really well on your test because you studied so hard? Think about it. Who has control? Who feels like the action they took matters? We also know that how much control parents take in their kids' lives makes a big difference to whether kids have that internal sense of control. What I do matters, what I do makes a difference, versus things just happen to me. It begins with discipline. For parents to understand how to discipline, it's really as simple as understanding where the word comes from. It shares the root with disciple. It means to learn, to guide, ideally in a loving way. It doesn't mean to control, and it doesn't mean to punish. When we raise kids by saying things like, you'll do what I said, why? Because I said so, they don't learn they have control. They learn that they are controlled. When we say to kids instead, my job is to have you become independent, my job is to have you grow, but I have to do so to make sure that you're going to be safe while you do it, and all you have to do to get more freedoms is to demonstrate that you can handle it, kids feel like they're in control. And they are going to take that knowledge that they learn early in childhood and carry it through with the rest of their life. We also know from decades of research how much control parents should have in their kids' lives. There's something called parenting style. And when we look at parenting style, we look at two forces that could be in opposition. One is love and warmth and support, and the other is monitoring and rules and boundaries and control. How much control should parents have? Balanced. They should be warm and loving, and they must also have rules and boundaries. That's called balanced parenting. And we know that when parents balance their control over their child with their child knowing that it comes from a place of caring and warmth and love, those kids have less anxiety, less depression. They do better in school. Those kids are less likely to use drugs. Those kids are going to have their first sexual experiences later. They're less likely to be bullied. They're less likely to be bullies. They're safer in cars, right? They're less likely to witness violence. In every category, those kids do better. So many people worry that if they fail, they're going to lose it all. And so they just protect themselves from any possible failure. And so many parents also worry about the possibility that their kid will fail if they don't succeed at absolutely everything. Fear of failure doesn't give you confidence. It actually gives you a loss of a sense of control because you're afraid to confront difficulties, because you're afraid you're going to lose if you don't succeed. When we allow our kids actually to fail sometimes, and they learn that after failure usually comes recovery and opportunity for growth, those are the kind of people who have a sense of control in their lives and who are willing to take chances. We want to protect our kids, and there's so many ways of doing it, and one of the ways of doing it is to just watch them closely in absolutely everything they do. But when you understand that adolescence is about figuring out how to stand on your own, then you begin to understand that when parents are watching and hovering all the time and controlling everything, kids aren't going to learn to control their own lives. Instead, they're going to feel controlled. And let me tell you something. If you install control buttons in your child during adolescence where they don't feel like they can do things on their own because you're controlling all of their actions and everything they do, when your kids can get out of the house, they're not looking back. Remember that your goal is interdependence. You want to be involved in your child's life for decades to come. The secret of remaining interdependent is for your child to know that you honor their independence. Again, it's about not installing control buttons that kids are going to have to move away to turn off. When it comes to resilience, we should really draw from the Serenity Prayer because it speaks very directly to control. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.